Hello, how are you? I'm fine, thank you. Sit down, please. I'd like to speak English today too, to improve my speaking skill. Let's get it started. Today, it is November 5th, 2022. It's on Saturday. How are you spending Saturday today? It's sunny outside. Do you add a drop of pepper in ramen? Do you add a drop of pepper in ramen? Do you add a drop of spice in ramen? Hmm. The stock prices can drop sharply. The stock prices both drop and skyrocket sharply. The drop of stones can be predicted along the coastline, mountainous area, along the cliff. Drop. A drop of sugar can be added to the ingredient. I only had a drop of money in my wallet. I didn't have enough money to buy the PlayStation 5, so I gave up. A drop of amount of alcohol might work well. Even a drop of alcohol affect me because of my body system. Even a drop of alcohol affects me. Even a drop of alcohol acts as my allergy. Even a drop of alcohol affects my allergy. Acts as my allergy. Even a drop of alcohol affects me. Even a drop of alcohol acts my allergy up. Acts up my allergy. My allergy acts up even a drop of alcohol. Even with a drop of alcohol. My allergy acts up with a drop of alcohol. My allergy acts up with a drop of alcohol. A drop of, a drop of, a little of, a few of, a little of. A drop of, a drop of. My allergy acts up with even with a lot, even with a drop of alcohol. My allergy worse. My allergy worsens even with a drop of alcohol. My allergy gets worse. Even a drop of alcohol. A drop of. My allergy gets worse. Even a drop of alcohol. A drop of. A drop of sugar. A drop of salt. A drop of pepper. A drop of pepper. A drop of tomato soup. A drop of dipping sauce. A drop of salt can be added to the food. Do you usually add a drop of sugar into the food? A drop of wine might be added to the steak. A drop of wine might be added to the steak. A drop of. A drop of wine can be added to the steak. The chef, according to the chef, a drop of wine is included in the food. A drop of wine is included in the food cuisine. According to the chef, a drop of red wine is included in the cuisine. A drop of red wine is included in the wine. A drop of red wine is included in the wine. Everything will circulate, dropping and going up, rising and dropping, rise and drop. Stock markets both rises and drops. Popularity might drop with time, over time. Japanese yen is dropping as of November 5th, 2022. The soccer player suddenly dropped, and rescuers rushed to him to rescue. Some people drops soon because they don't have the interest in that. If you have the interest in that, you won't stop it. You want to drop. You will keep doing that forever. The temperature will drop as the weather approaches the winter. The temperature will drop as the weather approaches the winter. The stone is about to drop. The stone is about to drop. The goods in the UFO catcher is about to drop from the cliff, from the edge. The merchandise in the UFO catcher is about to drop. Come close to dropping. The car came close to running over the dog. The car came close to running over the cat. The popularity of the celebrity is dropping. The popularity of CDs are dropping. The popularity of CD is dropping. While I was working on the duty outside, I suddenly dropped. So please be careful. Please be hydrated by drinking water regularly so that you won't drop while working. Please bring them carefully so that you won't drop them so that you won't drop them. I carried the objects so carefully for fear that I should drop them off, lest I should drop them, in case I should drop them. I carried things. I usually carry things very carefully for fear that I drop them. I should drop them. In case I should drop them, for fear that I would drop them. Some people soon drop schools or companies. The news dropped the stock prices of the company. The news dropped the stock price of the company. The stock prices can depend on the news, world news. The stock prices can depend on world news. My parents used to drop me off at the station every morning. My parent used to drop me off at the station every morning. Could you drop me off at the station? I will go to the post office to pick up my orders. I will drop you off on the way. I can drop you off on the way. So please tell me uh, if you want me to drop you off somewhere on the way. And there are many factors dropping the stock prices. There were many factors dropping the stock prices after the Lehman shock. I sometimes drop a cup of coffee on my desk. Do you also sometimes drop a cup of coffee on your desk? By mistakes, yes. I sometimes drop a cup of coffee or water on my desk. Disrespectful remarks in public will drop your popularity, respect on you, trust in you. Disrespectful remarks in public will drop the respect for you, will drop trust in you. Disrespectful remarks in public will drop trust in you. I sometimes drop a cup of coffee on my desk. I usually carry things very carefully so that I won't drop anything, so that I won't drop them. I usually carry things very carefully in order that I won't drop them. I usually carry things very carefully so that I won't drop them. I usually carry things very carefully in order that I won't drop them. The air conditioner can drop the temperature in the room. The air conditioner can drop the temperature in the room. The air conditioner can drop the temperature in the room. The bad news dropped the stock price of the company. The bad news dropped the stock price of the company. Could you drop me off at the airport? Could you drop me off at the convenience store? I will go home alone. My relatives can drop in on me without notice. My relatives drops in on me suddenly. My relatives are inclined to drop in on me suddenly. My relatives drop in on me. My relatives tend to drop in on me suddenly. My relatives are apt to drop in on me suddenly. My relatives are apt to drop in on me suddenly. Apt to drop in on me suddenly. My relative drops in on me suddenly. My relatives are apt to drop in on me suddenly. My relatives are apt to drop in on me suddenly. May I drop in on you after work today? Because I have things I'd like to talk with you privately. I'd like to have a word with you privately. I'd like to have a word with you privately. Can I drop in on you tonight after the work? Because I'd like to have a word with you privately. My relatives sometimes drop in by me suddenly. Could you stop by somewhere at a convenience store Could you stop? Could you stop by a convenience store on the way if you find it? Could you drop by a convenience store on the way? Could you stop by a convenience store? 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 Could you drop in at a convenience store? Could you drop in at a convenience store? May I drop in on you? May I drop in on you? May I drop in by you? May I drop in on you? May I drop in on you? May I drop in by you? Because I'd like to have a word with privately. Because I'd like to have a word with you privately. Because I'd like to have a word with privately. Because I'd like to have a word with privately. So may I drop in by you? May I drop in on you? May I drop in by you? May I drop in by you? May I drop in on you? I think some successful people are dropouts. I think dropouts have unique ideas to succeed in the businesses. I think many successful people are dropouts. Many of them have great ideas. What do you think of dropout? Dropout from high schools or universities. Not all of the students fit in the environment of high schools or universities. That's why dropout happen. Not all of us can fit in the environment of the schools. That's why dropout happens, arises. That's why dropout arises, come about, bring about, come about, break out, arouse. Drop out. Not many people, not all of us can fit in the environment of schools. Not all of us can fit in the school's environment. Not all of us can fit in the environment of the schools. Not all of us can fit in the environment of the schools. Drop out. Not all of us can fit in the environment of the schools. Not all of us can fit in the environment of the schools. Drop out. 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 Do you care of your earnings? Do you care of the amount of your earnings? To be honest, my earnings is not enough to make a living, to earn a living. But I decided this myself, to pursue my career, to do what I like. But in the future, I hope I can have enough earnings. But now, it's too low to make a living. It's like a preparation for the future. I wish I had enough earnings to buy more things. I wish I could have the same amount of earnings as a billionaire. I wish I could have the same amount of earnings as a billionaire. I wish I could have the same amount of earnings as a billionaire. Earnings. I wish I could have the same amount of earnings as a billionaire. If only I could have the same amount of earnings as a billionaire. If only I could have the same amount of earnings as a billionaire. I wish I could have the same amount of earnings as a billionaire. I wish I could have the same amount of earnings as billionaire. How can I have the same amount of earnings as a billionaire? I wish I could have the same amount of earnings as a billionaire. I'd like to have the same amount of earnings as a billionaire. I'd like to have much earnings. I'd like to have the earnings as much as the billionaire. Some elderly people are earning a living on pension with pension. I wish I could earn enough money to be able to buy more. I wish I could earn such amount of money as you, as billionaire. I wish I could earn as much money as billionaire. I wish I could earn as much money as the billionaire. Persistency with something will earn trust in you. Persistency with something forever will earn you trust. My persistency with studying English is earning trust. My persistency with studying English is earning trust. Persistency with something will earn trust someday, but it might take time. Persistency with something will earn trust. The length of the operation and services will earn trust, but it will take time. May I ask how much you are earning? May I ask how much you are earning? May I ask how much you are earning? Is it rude to ask how much they are earning? Persistency with something will earn trust. Long service will earn trust. The length of the service will earn trust. The length of the long service will earn trust. The length of the service and no mistakes will earn trust. Can you earn a living with that job? Can I earn a living with a freelance job? I wish I could earn a living with YouTube videos, which is my dream. I wish earned a living with YouTube videos, which is my dream. I hope I can make it true. I can make it come true. I hope I can make it come true someday. As soon as possible. As soon as I can. I wish I could earn a living. I wish I could earn a living. I wish I could make a living with YouTube videos, which is my Biggest dream. I wish I could earn a living. I wish I could make a living. I'd like to earn a living with YouTube videos. From bottom of my heart, bottom of my heart, but from bottom of my heart, bottom of my heart, from bottom of my heart. Earn a living, make a living, earn a living, make a living, earn a living. I'd like to earn a living with YouTube videos. I'd like to earn a living with my freelance job. I'd like to earn a living. I'd like to earn a living. I'd like to earn a living. I'd like to earn a living with YouTube videos and a freelance job. I'd like to earn a living with the jobs that I like. I'd like to earn a living with what I like to do. What I like to do. What I like to do. I'd like to earn a living with what I like to do. I'd like to earn a living. I'd like to earn a living. I'd like to earn a living. I'd like to earn a living with YouTube videos. I used to live on 10,000 yen regarding my food in a month to save money. I used to live on 10,000 yen regarding my food in a month. I used to live on 10,000 yen regarding food in a month. Some elderly people are living on a pension. By the time I become an elderly person, the amount of pension might be decreased. When I become an elderly person, the amount of pension might be decreased. There are some factors discouraging me from going abroad. There were many factors discouraging me from going abroad during the pandemic. The cancellation of the school trip discouraged all of the students. The sudden cancellation of the school trip discouraged all of the students. Discouraged all of the students. The sudden cancellation of the school trip to Hokkaido discouraged all of the students. My teacher encouraged me to challenge that. The scary news discouraged me from going abroad. The dropping yen 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 prevented me from going abroad. The disease discouraged me from drinking coffee too much. The stomach pain discouraged me from drinking a lot of coffee. The state of emergency discouraged many citizens from traveling. The state of emergency discouraged many citizens from traveling. The state of emergency discouraged citizens from traveling. The typhoon prevented me from going outside. The typhoon prevented me from going outside. The dropping game discouraged me from going abroad. The dropping game discouraged me from going abroad. The dropping game discourages me from going abroad. The dropping game is discouraging me from going abroad. The dropping game 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 is discouraging me from going abroad. The disease discouraged the patient from disregarding the advice from the doctor. The disease discouraged the patient from disregarding the advice from parents and doctor. The typhoon discouraged me from going outside. The heavy rain discouraged me from going outside. The heavy rain discouraged me from going outside. The heavy rain during the trip is discouraging. The heavy rain was discouraging during the trip. Discouraging. Discouraging part of the trip was the heavy rain. Discouraging part of the trip was the heavy rain. The discouraging part of the trip was the heavy rain. The discouraging part of the trip was the heavy rain. Except for the heavy rain, our trip to Fukuoka was very good. Except for the heavy rain, our trip to Fukuoka was very good. Except for the heavy rain, only one day during the trip to the Fukuoka prefecture was very good. It was very good. Some restrictions in the tourist spots are discouraging. The less number of tourists is discouraging. My discouragement was obvious from the expression on my face. My discouragement was obvious from the expression on my face. Discouragement. 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 My discouragement about the cancellation of the school trip was obvious. The discouragement of all students was obvious from their expression. I try not to show my discouragement even if it is not good. I try not to show the discouragement of something even if it is even which has disappointed me. I try not to show the discouragement from the expression on my face, even which has disappointed me. Some people try to hide discouragement from the expression on their face. Discouragement. Casual expenses are the reasons why we feel sad. Casual expenses is one of the factors that I cannot save money smoothly. Casual expenses is the reasons why we have to have savings. Casual expenses. I don't like to pay casual expenses. But casual expenses come about, break out, arouse. I hope casual expenses will not happen. I hope casual expenses will not happen. I hope casual expenses will not appear. Casual expenses, casual expenses, casual expenses, casual expenses, casual expenses. Casual expenses. Casual expenses, casual expenses, casual expenses, casual expenses, casual expenses, casual expenses, casual expenses. Casual expenses is one of the factors discouraging me, disappointing me. Casual expenses always disappoint me. Casual expenses never fail to discourage me. Casual expenses never fails to discourage me, disappoint me. Casual expenses never fails to discourage me. Casual expenses never fails to discourage me. Casual expenses never fail to disappoint me. Casual expenses never fail to discourage me. Casual. One of the good features of this company is that we can wear casual clothes for the work. One of the good features of this company is that we can wear casual clothes to the workplace, in the workplace. One of the good features of this company is that we can wear casual clothes in the workplace. Please stop by our cafe casually. Those restaurants casually stopped by customers. It will be popular. The restaurant is conveniently located, so we can park our car casually. The staffs in the restaurant are very friendly, so the restaurant is very easy to enter casually. The staffs of the restaurant are very friendly, so the restaurant is very easy to enter casually. The staffs of the restaurant are very friendly. Plus, besides that, on top of that, the prices of the menus are reasonable. So I can go to the restaurant casually. There is no dress code to the bar, so I can go to the bar casually. 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 One of the good features of the company is that the employees can work casually. One of the good features of the company is that the employees can work casually. One of the good features of the company is that the employees can work casually. Some people are easy to talk to casually, while others don't. Are you this kind of person who are easy to talk to casually? Are you easy to talk to casually? Some bosses are very difficult to talk to. They are not easy to talk to casually. Casually. Some people appear everywhere casually, even party. Some people go everywhere casually. Some people go everywhere casually. 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 Please stop by our restaurant casually. Anytime. The good feature of ordering food from the touch panel is that we don't have to care the communication with people. We can order the menu casually. The good feature of ordering the menu from the screen panel is that we don't have to care the communication with the staff. We can order the menu casually. And we can think well what to order from the screen panel. Good feature of the touch panel. Good feature of ordering from the touch panel, screen panel, is that we don't have to have the communication with the staff, and we can order the menu casually. The parking space is so huge in the convenience store, so I can park my car casually. The parking space of the convenience store is so huge, so the convenience store is very easy to enter from drivers in car. The parking space of the convenience store is so huge, so I can park my car in that space casually. Are you interested in bonds market? Do you have a bond? Are you interested in buying a bond? How much benefit can I get if I buy the bond? If I buy the bond, and how long do I have to keep the bond to get the benefit? 5 years, 10 years? How long do I have to keep the bond if I buy it? And how much benefit can I get? How much is the interest rate of the bond? How much benefit can I get if I buy the bond now? How much benefit can I get from buying the bond? Our relationship since elementary school shows the strong bond between us. Our relationship has been lasting since we were elementary school students. So our bond is so strong. I'm looking for a bond which can attach my plastic thing on the wall. Which bond can you recommend? Which bond do you recommend to buy? Which bond do you recommend that I buy? I'm not familiar with bonds, and there are many kinds of bond, so I'm confusing. Excuse me, I'd like to buy a bond, but there are many kinds of bond. I'd like to attach this plastic on the wall. So which bond do you recommend that I buy? Many things are bonded. Many things can be bonded. Do you have government bonds? Government bonds. Do you have government bonds? 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 National debt. National bonds. Do you have government bonds? Are you interested in buying the government bonds? Are you interested in buying 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 a national bond? Government bonds. Government bonds. Government bonds. Do you have the interest in buying government bonds? Government bonds. How much benefit can I get if I buy the government bonds? And how long do I have to keep the government bonds? How much benefit can I get by buying the government bonds? And how long do I have to keep the government bonds to get the benefit? Bond. Bond. This bond is so strong, so please be careful when you use it. This bond can apply to the outside wall. This is so strong, so please be careful when you use it, so that the bond will not attach to your hand. This bond is so strong enough to attach the object to the outside wall. This bond is so strong enough to attach almost everything to the outside wall. Bond. 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 Are you interested in bonds market? Are you interested in bonds market or stock markets? Bond. The bond between parent and children will be so strong, or strongest. The bond between the mother and children must be the strongest bond. Where did you buy the bond? Please use the right bond to attach the object to the wall. Please use the right bond. Please use the right bond. Correct bond. Right bond. Please use the right bond. Please use the right bond to attach the object to the outside wall. Government bonds. 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 I'd like to bond this object to the wall. Which bond should I buy? Is it possible to attach this plastic on the wall with this bond? I'm not familiar with bond. Bond. The monthly rent of the apartment can be bonded. Many things can be bonded. Many things can be bonded. Many things were bonded before the Lehman shock. Many things were bonded. Many things were bonded. I'd like to bond this wood to the wall. I'd like to bond this part to the plastic model. I'd like to bond this part to the plastic model. I'd like to bond this plastic part to the model. I'd like to bond this plastic model to the wall. I'd like to bond this plastic model to the wall. I'd like to bond this plastic model to the wall as a decoration. I'd like to bond this plastic model to the wall as a decoration. Can the monthly pay be bonded? Can the monthly rent be bonded? Can the monthly rent of the apartment be bonded? Can the monthly rent of the apartment be bonded? Can the monthly rent of the apartment be bonded? The poster was bonded to the wall. The posters are being 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 bonded on the wall. The posters are being bonded on the wall. Could you help me bond the posters on the wall? Would you mind helping me to bond the posters on the wall? Would you mind helping me set up the tables? Would you mind helping me set up the tables? Would you mind helping me? Would you mind helping me to bond the posters on the wall? Could you help me bond the posters on the wall? Would you mind helping me bond the posters on the wall? Would you mind helping me? Would you mind helping me Would you mind helping me bond the poster, bond the poster, bond the poster on the wall? The volcano and the land bonded with a sandbar. The volcano and the land bonded with a sandbar. After the volcanic eruption, the mountain and the land bonded with a sandbar. It is said that water and oil cannot bond. They say the oil and water cannot bond. It is said that oil and water cannot bond. The object will bond on the wall soon. The object will bond on the wall within 3 seconds. It takes about 3 seconds to bond. It takes about 3 seconds. For the object to bond on the wall. It takes about 3 minutes for the objects to bond on the wall. The time how long it will take depends on the size and temperature and the condition of the room. The length of how long it will take depends on the size or conditions of the room and the size of the object. It will take about 1 minute for the object to bond on the wall, but the length of how long it will take depends on the size of the object and the condition of the room. The object used to have bonded so firmly on the wall, so it was tough to remove it. The solar light bonded on the wall so firmly, so solidly, so hard, so it was so hard, so tough to remove it from the wall. The solar light bonded on the wall so hard, so tough, so hard, so firmly, so it was so tough to remove it from the wall. The solar light was attached, bonded on the wall so hard, so firmly. The solar light bonded on the wall so firmly, so it was so difficult to remove it. The quick recovery from the disease made every doctor surprised. Economic recovery, disease recovery, economic recovery, economic recovery, illness recovery, sadness recovery, economic recovery, economic recovery. It took about 3 months to recover from the depression. It took about 3 months to recover from the depression. It took 3 months for me to recover from the depression. It took about 3 months for me to recover from the depression. The world is recovering from the pandemic. The world is recovering from the pandemic. The company is trying to recover the trust after the corruption. The company is trying to recover the trust after the corruption. The boxer is practicing so hard in order to recover the champion belt from the opponent. The boxer is enduring such a hard training in order to recover the champion belt, which was stolen, which was obtained by the opponent by losing the match. The patient recovered consciousness after 30 minutes. The tourist spots are recovering from the recession. The tourist spots are recovering a vibrant atmosphere gradually. The tourist spots are recovering the vibrant atmosphere gradually. The tourist spots are recovering a vibrant atmosphere gradually. The athlete with one year blank is recovering the usual speed, previous speed. The athlete with 1 year blank is recovering the previous speed. It took about 3 months for me to recover from the depression. The tourism industry is recovering the condition before the pandemic gradually. The tourism industry is recovering The tourism industries are recovering the condition before the pandemic. The man tried his best in order to recover his popularity and trust again. It will be so hard to recover the trust once he or she loses it. It might be super difficult to recover the trust once he or she loses it. I'd like to recover the usual health like before. I'm trying to recover the usual health after the illness, after coming down with the illness. The patient recovered consciousness. After 3 minutes, the patient recovered consciousness. 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 The company is trying to recover the trust. The company is trying to recover the sales figures of last years. The company is trying to recover its popularity. Do you know the position called trade ambassador? Do you know the position of trade ambassador? Trade ambassador, trade ambassador, trade ambassador, trade ambassador. Do you know the position called trade ambassador? The position is called trade ambassador. The position trade ambassador, trade ambassador, trade ambassador. Trade ambassador, 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 trade ambassador. Do you know the position of trade ambassador? FRB stands for Federal Reserve Board. Federal Reserve Board. Federal Reserve Board. Federal Reserve Board. Federal Reserve. Federal Reserve Board. Board. Federal Reserve Board. Federal Reserve Board. Federal Reserve Board. FRB stands for Federal Reserve Board. Federal Reserve Board. FRB stands for Federal Reserve Board. Federal Reserve Board. Federal Reserve Board. Federal Reserve Board. Is the Federal Reserve Board like central bank in other countries? Is the Federal Reserve Board like the central banks in other countries? Is Federal Reserve Board like a central bank in other countries? Federal Reserve Board. 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 Does the Federal Reserve Board have the right to change the interest rate? Does the Federal Reserve Board have the right to change the interest rate? I'm not familiar with it, so I'm asking. I'd like to ask whether the Federal Reserve Board can change the interest rate. I'd like to ask whether the Federal Reserve Board have the right to change the interest rate. I'd like to ask whether the Federal Reserve Board can change interest rate. I'd like to ask whether the Federal Reserve Board can change the interest rate. Change the interest rate. I'd like to ask whether the Federal Reserve Board can change the interest rate. Federal Reserve Board. 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 Board. Federal Reserve Board. Consumer confidence. Do you care about consumer confidence? Do you care about consumer confidence? Consumer confidence. 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 Consumer confidence will go up and go down. Consumer confidence will circulate going up and going down. Consumer confidence will circulate going up and going down. Consumer confidence will circulate going up and going down. The consumer confidence will circulate going up and going down. Consumer confidence will go up and going down. Will go up and go down. Consumer confidence will go up and go down. The consumer confidence will repeat going up and going down. The consumer confidence will repeat going up and going down. The consumer confidence will repeat going down and going up. Consumer confidence will repeat going up and going down, like the stock market. Consumer confidence will repeat going up and going down, like the stock prices. Consumer confidence will repeat going up and going down, like the stock market. Consumer confidence. Consumer confidence. Can you stick to what you have decided perpetually? Can you stick with what you have decided perpetually? Can you keep to what you have decided perpetually? Can you keep to what you have decided perpetually? Can you stick with what you have decided perpetually? Can you stick to what you have decided perpetually? The machines can produce the products perpetually unless we stop it. Of course, we have to make it stop for a while to make them have a rest. Because the battery, or for example, the battery will have the heat. So we have to make them rest for a while. The machines can produce the products perpetually. The machines can produce the products perpetually. The machines can produce the parts perpetually. The machines can produce the parts perpetually, faster than human procedures. The machines can produce the units of the products perpetually. The machines can produce the unit of the products perpetually. The machines can produce the units of the products perpetually. The machines can produce 24 units of the product perpetually within 1 hour. Perpetually. Can you keep to what you have decided perpetually? Can you stick with what you have decided perpetually? Can you stick to what you have decided perpetually? It's like raining perpetually. It's like you won't read the book perpetually. She can eat the food perpetually, like a robot. Perpetually. Persistency with something perpetually will earn trust. Persistency with something perpetually will earn trust. Perpetually, 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 constantly, forever, constantly, perpetually, 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 perpetually. I won't change my mind perpetually. Some people are stubborn enough to adhere to their policy perpetually. Some people are obstinate and stubborn enough to stick with his or her policy perpetually, perpetually, perpetually. I will study English perpetually. I will study English perpetually. I will pursue my dreams perpetually. Can you pursue your dreams perpetually until you achieve them? Can you pursue your dreams until you achieve them? Can you pursue your career perpetually? Can you pursue your career perpetually? Can you pursue your career perpetually? Perpetually, 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 perpetually. Please refrain from smoking here, in this facility. Please refrain from drinking alcoholic beverages. The doctor advised that I should refrain from drinking a cup of coffee for a while. I usually rely on my effort to achieve something because I don't have the talent at all. I usually rely upon my effort to achieve something because I don't have the talent at all. I'm not gifted at all. I'm not talented at all. Who do you rely on the most? Who do you rely on the most? Who do you rely upon the most? Do you rely upon your parents? Do you rely on your mother? Do you rely upon your father? Some countries heavily rely on importing goods. Some countries rely on importing goods. Imported goods. Imported goods. Some countries rely on imported goods from other countries. The car accident resulted from drunk driving. The car accident resulted from drunk driving. My drowsiness results from a lack of sleep. The drowsiness results from the lack of sleep. This drowsiness definitely results from a lack of sleep. This drowsiness definitely results from my lack of sleep. A lack of sleep. A lack of sleep. The drowsiness definitely results from a lack of sleep. Results from a lack of sleep. Results from a lack of sleep. The drowsiness results from lack of sleep. Results from a lack of sleep. The car accident resulted from the drunk driving of the driver. The car accident resulted from the drunk driving of the driver. My lack of knowledge results from my lack of study. His success resulted from his endless challenges. His success results from his endless challenges. His success resulted from his endless challenges. I think breakthroughs result from challenging something crazy. Breakthroughs result from challenging crazy things. Breakthroughs result from challenging crazy things. Crazy things. I think breakthroughs result from challenging crazy things. I think breakthroughs result from challenging crazy things. Crazy things. The car accident resulted from drunk driving. The car accident resulted from car accident. The car accident resulted from drunk driving. My tiredness, even after the sleeping, result from a series of working overtime. The car accident resulted from the drunk driving of the car driver. The anger of the boss results from a series of negligence of the employee. The anger of the boss results from a series of mistakes made by the employee. His endless effort and commitment into the research resulted in winning him the Nobel Prize for Physics. His constant enthusiasm, commitment, devotion, dedication into the research resulted in winning him the Nobel Prize for Physics. His commitment to the research resulted in inventing awesome feat. The detectives are searching for clues to the crime. The detectives are searching for clues to the crime. What are you searching for? I can help you searching for. I can help you search for. What are you searching for? I'd like to help you search for the thing. I will have to speak to my parents when they get older. I will have to speak to my parents when they get older. I will have to speak to my parents when they get older. My neighbor saw to my pet cat while I was away. My neighbors saw to my pet cat while we were away on the trip. Thanks to my neighbor seeing to my pet cat, we could have the trip. Thanks to the neighbor seeing to our pet cat, we could have the trip. She is in charge of seeing to the claims by the customers. She is in charge of dealing with the claims by the customers. She is in charge of dealing with the claims from the customers. She is in charge of seeing to the claims by the customers from the customers. She is in charge of seeing to the claims from the customers. The department of the company sees to coming up with a solution to the problem. The department of the company sees to coming up with the solutions to the problem. The physician sees to patients. The physician sees to patients in the hospital. The nurses see to elderly people in the nursery home. I will have to see to my parents when they get older. My mother is seeing to her parents. My mother is seeing to her parents now. My brother liked to see to kids, so he became a kindergarten teacher. My brother likes to see to kids, so he became a kindergarten teacher. My brother likes sing to kids, so he became a kindergarten teacher. My brother likes to see to kids, so he became a kindergarten teacher. My sister likes sing to kids, so she became a kindergarten teacher. My sister likes to sing to kids, so she became a kindergarten teacher. My brother likes sing to kids, so he became a kindergarten teacher. The Prime Minister sent for the ministers for emergency meeting. The Prime Minister sent for the cabinet members suddenly for emergency. The witness of the crime sent for police officers. The witness of the car accident sent for ambulance. The witness of the car accident suddenly immediately sent for an ambulance. The witness of the car accident immediately sent for an ambulance, which was a very quick action. The witness of the car accident sent for an ambulance quickly, immediately. The witness of the car accident immediately sent for an ambulance. Sent for an ambulance. The CEO of the company sent for the executive members to have the meeting, although it was in the middle of the night. The ambulance was sent for suddenly, immediately. The ambulance was sent for. The ambulance can be sent for in case of emergency. The ambulance is available 24 hours in case of emergency. The ambulance was sent for immediately after the car accident. The ambulance was sent for immediately after the car accident. The ambulance was sent for soon after the car accident. The concierge in the hotel sent for a taxi for us. The hotel staff called for a taxi for us. Because there was no public transportation nearby we can use from the spot. The hotel staff sent for a taxi for us because there was no public transportation available. The hotel staff sent for a taxi for us. The hotel staff sent for a taxi for us. The hotel staff sent for a taxi for us because there were no available public transportation. Because there was no public transportation available right now around. Because there was no public transportation available around. I will stand by you, no matter who criticizes you, no matter who criticizes you. You should stand by your policy. Can you stand by your thoughts, no matter who criticizes you? Can you stand by your policy? Can you stand by your policy forever, perpetually? No matter who criticizes you, no matter who criticizes you, no matter who criticizes you. The man stood by his policy, no matter who criticized him. The man stood by his policy, thoughts, way of thinking, no matter who criticized him. Which political party do you stand by? Which political party do you stand by? I'd like to stand up for my thoughts, no matter who criticizes me. Can you stand up for your policy perpetually? The judge stood up for the independence of the judiciary. The justice. The judge stood up for his independence from anyone else. The judge stood up for his independence from other institutes and sentenced the criminal based on the Constitution. I cannot stand by one point in the thoughts, in the policy. There are some points in the policy that I cannot stand by. FRB stands for Federal Reserve Board. Federal Reserve Board. FRB stands for Federal Reserve Board. Federal Reserve Board. It is rude to stare at something. It is rude to stare into someone. Staring at someone is rude. Staring into someone is considered to be rude. Staring at someone is considered rude. Staring into someone is considered to be as rude. Because someone was staring at me from a distance, so I changed my course. So I walked away. I don't like to be stared at. I don't like to be stared into. I don't like to be stared into. I don't like to be stared into. I don't like to be stared at. If I work with this very notable costumes, everyone will stare into me. If I walk with this costume, everyone will stare into me. If I walk with this costume, everyone will stare into me. If I walk with this notable costume, everybody will stare into me. Everybody will stare at me. Everyone will stare into me. If I walk with this costume, everyone will stare into me. Stare into me. Don't stare at me. Don't stare into me. Don't stare at me. Don't stare at me. Don't stare into me. The baby was staring into the ceiling fan. I think he found the ceiling fan very interesting. I think the baby found the ceiling fan very interesting. The baby was staring into the ceiling fan, lying on the floor. Can you stick to what you have decided forever, perpetually? Can you stick with what you have decided perpetually? Can you keep to what you have decided forever? Can you stick to what you have decided forever? Can you stick to the promise forever, perpetually? I hope you succeed in the business. I hope you succeed in the business. I hope I can succeed in my business. I've suffered from skin problems since I was born. I hope the advancement of new technologies in medical field will eradicate my disease. I've been suffering from my disease. I've been suffering my disease. What do you think of government bonds? What do you think about government bonds? The leaves are turning into colorful colors. The leaves are turning into colorful colors. The leaves are transforming into colorful colors. The leaves are turning into colorful colors. The leaves are changing into colorful colors. The leaves turn into colorful colors in autumn. The leaves transform into colorful colors in autumn. The leaves change into colorful colors in autumn. The vacant lot will be turned into a parking lot. The vacant lot will be turned into a parking lot. The vacant lot will be changed into a parking lot. The vacant lot will be changed into a parking lot. You can turn to me anytime. You can turn to me anytime. I had a boss. I used to have a boss I can turn to anytime. So if I got faced with problems, I often called him, even in the midnight. I used to have a good boss whom I could turn to anytime. So whenever I was confronted with problems, I often called her. I often called him. I used to have a good boss whom I could turn to any time, even in the middle of the midnight. So whenever I was confronted with problems, whenever I was faced with problems, I often called him to ask for solutions. To ask for solutions. I want to find someone who I can turn to for help anytime. I'd like to have a boss whom I can turn to for help anytime. I'd like to have a boss who I can turn to for help anytime. I used to turn to my genius friend for answer to the difficult math questions, but which was not good for me. Homeworks are to do ourselves. By doing so, we can grow up. Otherwise, we will not grow up. So, but I frequently turn to my genius friend for answers to the math questions, which I regret later. Which I regret now. Regret now. If I had solved the math question by myself, I would be better now. I would have the stronger brain to think more. If I had solved the problems, if I had struggled with solving the math questions on my own, I would have stronger brain to think now. I would have stronger brain to think now. I would have stronger brain to think now. You can turn to me anytime. You can count on me anytime. You can turn to me. You can count on me. You can rely on me. The mother watched over the baby sleeping. I hope my ancestors are watching over me. I hope my ancestors are watching over me. I hope my ancestors are watching over me. Our ancestors must be watching over us. Our ancestors must be watching over us. I will be watching over you tomorrow while you are taking the Kyotsu test. I will be watching over you tomorrow while you are taking the Kyotsu test. So please be confident. You can do, because you have studied so much by today. So I'm sure you can achieve it. You can make it. You can make it. So please enjoy the Kyotsu test tomorrow, okay? I will be watching over you from the sky. Some parents were watching over their children from the entrance of the university while they are taking the examination. Some mothers of the students were watching over them at the entrance of the university, which was the venue for the examination. Whenever the examination term comes, I see the news of the examination, and I often see mothers watching over their kids taking the examination at the entrance of the examination venue. Whenever the examination term arrives, I often see the news of the examination, and I often watch mothers or parents watching over their children at the entrance of the examination venue. I hope my ancestors are watching over me. I hope my ancestors watching over me. Watching me over. Insankanbi is the day when the parents of the students are welcomed to see the class. Parents watch over their kids taking the class. My parents watched over my operation during the operation. The fans of the soccer team watched over the play from the TV. The soccer fans watched over the play from the seats. What do you wish for on this Christmas? What do you wish for on this Christmas? I wish for job and love. I wish for job and love. I really wish for earning money from YouTube videos, which is my dream. I really wish for earn a living with YouTube videos, which is my dream. What are you working on? What are you working upon? I am waiting for the cars to be automated perfectly so that I can work on my duty in the car. All I have to do is to activate the car, is to push the button. It's very good. I am waiting for the cars to be automated perfectly, and the things I have to do to activate the car is to just push the button and set up where I wanna go. And after setting, I can work on my duty or sleep inside. What are you working on? What are you working upon? While I was working upon my duty, the thunder rang, which surprised me. The sound of the thunder surprised me as well as other colleagues. While I was working upon my duty, the thunder rang, which surprised me as well as other coworkers. It is a good idea, or of course now, to work on our duty in recreation places such as hotel, tourist spots, and so on. It is now popular, or of course, or not rare, to work on our duty from our resort areas. 5G will make it accelerate. 5G will make it accelerate. It is not so rare to work on our duties from resort areas or from our home. It is not so rare now to work on our duties from home or resort areas. The internet made it possible. So the 5G technology will make it accelerate, will make it easier to work from remote areas. I prefer to work on my duties from my home. Which do you prefer? Working on your duties at home or at workplace? Which do you prefer? Working on your duty at home or at workplace? Okay, I will finish speaking here. Thank you for watching. See you next time. See you.